Okay, this is just a quick tutorial on how to bring a character into Mixamo, rig it, and export the animations, and then take those animations into Unity to quickly create an animated 3D character using a custom mesh. I don't have a mesh myself right now, so I'm going to use a tool developed by the Mixamo team, which is Adobe Fuse, which is a quick 3D character creator which we have available on the machines here. So you can just quickly build a character. I won't go into too much detail, so you can pick a default template to start with. I'll just make like a generic army guy, so pick a male scan head 1, double click that, should start to come up here, take a moment, okay. Then we've got the default head, and pick a body. So again, I'll just go for the quickly select the default options. Again, I've got a character coming together. You can just drag and drop to resize elements in the window. Again, I'm going to leave it at the default settings. It does take a little moment. Again, we've got legs, we'll choose arms. Okay, so I've got a full body now. You can actually go in and customize each of these individual elements by selecting them and just dragging on the panel, a bit like a old Mario 64. Or you can go in here and adjust things a little bit more finely with these sliders. So say if you want to make it a bit more muscly, you can bulk up these biceps and bulk up these triceps for some quick gains. Again, I won't go into too much just now, that's fine for me. And then go in and pick in some clothing. I said a generic sort of army character, so let's get some tactical gear. Again, you'll be free to play around with this in your own time if you want a super realistic character. There are tune options, and obviously you can bring your own custom character into Mixamo if you have one. Tactical boots. Hair's fine. Let's skip on the hats. Give them There we go. So a generic marine now. I'm okay for beards, gloves, masks, moustaches. I don't need any of them. So I can now send this character directly to Mixamo with this button up here. But if you don't have your Creative Cloud account logged in, which you might not be able to do on these machines, what you can do is go up to your file and I'm going to export as an OBJ. And this default settings look fine. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to throw that onto my desktop and call this just Marine. Okay, so I'm done with Adobe Fuse for now. I'm going to shut that down. Now let's go over to your web browser and go ahead and open mixamo.com up here. So as an Adobe product, you'll need an Adobe account, but you don't have to have a paid for Adobe subscription in order to actually use it. Okay, so up here we have characters and animations. You can use a pre-built character. There are several to choose from. Various styles, cartoony guys, that's realistic. But we made our character, so I'm going to go back to animations. So when you're ready to upload your character, go over to the right here. We see download or upload character. I'm going to hit upload. And Mixamo lets you input characters in .fbx, .obj or .zip format. So we've got a .obj, we've got exported from Fuse. See my desktop for Marine, so we've got all our textures, our normals, etc. here, and somewhere should be the model. I believe it's that one. Just give that a moment. Mixamo will take a moment to process the character and prepare it for rigging. Okay, here we see my characters imported correctly in a T-pose with none of the textures applied. So I'm going to hit next. The next option is to set up a skeleton, how you want to set up. So you put these drag and drop these all markers on the left to the appropriate places on the mesh. We'll see a guide on the right for chin, wrists, elbows, knee and groin. Grab the wrists, drag and drop them on. Elbows, just try to be as precise as you can. And finally groin. Some more options down here in terms of level of detail you can go down to. I'm just going to pick standard skeleton. Use symmetry, fine. Okay, next. And now we just give it 2 minutes or so and Mixamo will rig that up for you. Okay, once that's done, it's back in here. Hopefully you should see your character in the center of the screen here in the default idle pose. You can drag and drop, sort of pan around and have a look at the results. Looks fine for me, so I'm going to hit next. Cool. It's fine, okay. So we now uploaded the character into Mixamo. I'm going to see a selection of animations on the left. I'm going to start with a basic idle animation. I'm going to type idle. So you find one that matches the character with an alert. So maybe I want the character to be holding a gun. I might want to pick this as my default idle pose. Pick something a bit more dynamic for the moment, but you can see there's various options. What I might do actually, I can take that one. So once you select the animation, you've got a few options here in terms of if you want to trim it down or mirror it in there along the Y. Just change a few of these settings. To make a massive amount of difference. It can tend to give you some janky results if you play around with them too much. I'm going to reset that. Cool. That's what I'll do for my idle. I'm going to hit download now to download that to my computer. I'm going to change the format to FBX for Unity. I'm going to leave it at 30 FPS. Skin, this means do you want to download it with the mesh. So for this first idle animation, it's going to be a default. I'm going to download it with the mesh. But for subsequent animations, I'm going to download without skin. So it's just the animation data and not the mesh. So I'm not exporting and importing into Unity the same mesh over and over again just to get the animation clip off the resulting file. So I'm going to say with skin and no keyframe reduction. So none. Download. Save file. Got downloaded. So while I'm here, I'm going to take a few more animations. So I'm going to take a walking animation. Let's find again one that's appropriate for a character. So holding a gun, preferably. Walking backwards. Walking down. Start walking, obviously get more complicated animations that transition from different states. Guess this fits our character the best without going too much detail. So again, I'm going to download. Again, FBX for Unity.fbx, 30 FPS, skin without skin. So we just want the animation data for the second one. Unfortunately, there is no option to download multiple animations into a single mesh in the current version of Mixamo. I'm going to hit save. Right, I'm going to take a running animation. Again, or find one. Idle 2 running. I'm going to stop. rifle run. There we go, perfect. Again, I'll just leave the default setting for now, hit download, FBX for Unity without skin, just want the animation data, hit download. Okay, so that'll do for now. I've got 3 animations on my character ready to go into Unity. So let's close down Mixamo. I'm going to bring up Unity. So I prepared a scene file in advance. I guess you'd bring it into your own scene for your own project. So I'm just going to this blank scene set up with a few scripts and materials I want to use. The first thing I want to do is bring in that first animation with the mesh attach. We've got a new file, we've got animations. We could put in a models folder. Animations will do fine for now. I'm going to import new asset. My downloads, here I got marine idle, marine run and marine walking. Go to take all of those and hit import. Got your 3 marine objects here. I'm going to shift select those so I can set up these import settings all together. So I'll turn off import lights, camera, visibility, world vertices and blend shapes. We don't need any of these. I'll leave scale at 1. Cool, that's all. Apply that. I'll go to a rig. Fine for now. Animation, yes, we want to import the animation. And material, no. We're just going to have a untextured character for now. I'm going to do these individually now. So idle is going to be our default state. I'm going to bring that into my scene. Place it in front of my camera, but here. So take that 180 so he's facing the camera for now. Okay, so that's our idle state. So what I need to do next is for my run and walking state, I need to modify the animation panel. So go here to your rig panel and I will make sure it uses the avatar definition for the idle state. So we'll go to avatar definition, create from this model, and we'll change to copy from other avatar. And the source is going to be the marine at rifle idle. I'm going to drag and drop it up here. Oh, it's not going to let me. I'm going to select, hit circle select and pick the idle marine avatar and apply that. And again for walking, go to your inspector, go to your rig options, avatar definition, copy from other avatar, and choose marine at rifle idle avatar. So when we apply these 2 animations to this first instance that has a mesh attached, we don't get any weird errors with positioning or playing the animation. Cool. So next thing, if we hit play now, nothing should happen because we haven't set an animation controller on the object yet. So we see nothing's happening. We'll uncheck play. So inside animation folder in my project view, I'm going to right click, create animation controller. I'll call that something like character anim controller. Cool, got that. So I'm going to select my character in the scene view on the animator component, which has already been attached. Under controller, I'm going to drag and drop that character anim controller into that slot. Okay. Quickly save my scene. So now we've got this. I'm going to open this animation controller. So I'm going to double click on here. And this will open our animator window up here. And we see we've got 3 default states of any state, entry, and exit. So any state means that you can set certain conditions, and no matter what state the animation is in, it will transition from the state onto that new animation. It can be useful, say, if you want to do a melee attack or a shooting animation which will happen regardless of whether you're in idle, running or walking. So entry state is the first state, so this is where this state machine enters, if you want. So basically think of this as just lands at start. So at start we want to go into the idle animation. So I'm going to open up my marine at rifle idle down here in the project view, and I'm going to find the animation clip which is down here, rifle idle, and I'm going to drag and drop that into my animator window. And see that I'll instantly create this line between these two nodes, which is a transition. So when the game starts, it goes into entry and it immediately transitions through here into rifle idle. So if I hit play now, the animation should play. There we go, and our character is animated. And you'll see here the bar, how much progress it is from time 0 of the animation to the maximum time. But you'll see there, it's only played the animation once, which isn't great if your character's standing still. So what we want to do is loop that animation until we change from into another state. So I'm going to hit stop play, and go down here to animation clip. Actually I'm going to go to the imported marine at rifle, bring up the animation tab which is already open, and down here we have the animation clip rifle idle, and we'll hit loop time. I'm going to tick that, and we'll hit apply. Actually, before we do that, let's quickly test the walking. So let's check the loop for a second, and we're going to go down here to marine walking. And see, this one doesn't contain any of the mesh files that we have present in the idle section. But we'll just go grab this walking clip and drag it, drop it into our animator window. So now we have a rifle idle state and our walking state, and you can just use middle click to pan around this window. So I'm going to click rifle idle, I'm going to right click, make transition, and then left click on the walking state. So what will happen now is once rifle idle has finished playing, it will transition into the walking state, or move from playing this animation to playing this animation. So hit play now, and we'll see as this gets to the end, it should finish playing and then automatically transition into this walking animation. There we go. We'll see I've got an issue here where the character moves off its initial position. That's because it is using the root animation of the character to move the controller or the mesh of the character, which we don't necessarily want to do. In my case, I've written a script that controls a movement, so what I want to do is have the character walk on the spot. I'm going to go back to my marine at walking animation, and under loop time I'll hit loop pose. So that'll loop the animation once it goes into a walking state, and it'll loop the pose, which simply means he won't move off that position. Hit play again. Now we'll see the character walks in a stationary position. Okay, I'll stop that. And now I want to add a looping back into my idle animation, because I don't want it to transition into a walking state until the player starts actually moving the player controller. So I'm going to hit loop time and loop pose, hit apply, and that's on the idle animation. And while I'm here, I'm going to add the running as well. So I'm going to go back to my project view, open out the run animation, and drag and drop that clip. And again, under here, let's set the animation tab in the input settings. Let's set that to loop time and loop pose, and hit apply. And let's create a transition from a walking state to the rifle run state. So we now have an animation which has 3 states. when it starts, it moves into an idle animation. I want to do under certain conditions is I want to transition from an idle state to a walking state and then to a run state. And I'm going to do that based on the speed that the player is moving, the player controller. So let's go back to our scene view up here. I'm going to select my character, idle. I'm going to attach some scripts I've written previously, which is a modified player controller, which is a modified version of the rollerball tutorial you can easily find on unity.com. Obviously, in your case, it may be controlled by your own scripts. I'm going to grab the main camera and attach this camera controller, which again is just a basic script that you can find on Unity's rollerball tutorial. And in a target object, I'll drag and drop the player. Right, play now. I should be able to move my character around with W. Oh, not yet. No rigid body. Okay. I'll go ahead and add a rigid body to that character. Use gravity, and we'll freeze rotation in X and Z. Hit save, and we'll need a collider. So go ahead and add a capsule collider. You can see that down here. That is feet. So let's set that to about 1.8. Roughly the height of the character. Let's bring that up by 0.9, which is half that value. And let's decrease the radius a little bit so we're just getting the core of his body. So our arm should be able to clip through things. Let's say about 0.3 looks about right. They seem to have some rotation going on there. That looks right. Maybe an optical illusion. Okay, so now the character is stationary on the floor, and I can move him around on my player controller, and he'll face the direction of travel. I see he's moved between those states because I haven't set those up correctly yet. So now he's looping the run state, which is the final state in the tree we've created. So I'm going to unplay that. Go back to my animator, and what I need to do is set up these transitions between the states so they only happen based on the speed that the character is moving around the scene. So up on the left here I've got my animation layers and my animation parameters. I'm going to open the parameters, and I'm going to add a new parameter. So hit this all plus, and since we're doing it from speed, we can choose a float, an int, a bool, or a trigger. But since we normally store speeds in floats, I'll pick a float and I'll call this speed. So we want to say that above a certain speed we'll transition from idle to walking, and above a certain speed we'll transition from walking to rifle run. So click for transition between idle and walking. We're going to untick exit time. What exit time does is when this animation rifle idle stops playing, it immediately transitions to walking. By unticking that, we say we only transition under a certain condition. And we define this condition down here. Under conditions list is empty. So I'm going to hit this plus button, and we immediately, since we only have one condition, we get a speed condition. So I'm going to say when speed is greater than 0.1. Let's say 0.2 actually. So when speed is greater than 0.2, we transition from idle to walking. So I'll grab this next transition between walking and rifle run, and I'm going to say add this condition again, no exit time, which is empty conditions, hit the plus, speed is greater than, and I'm going to say 3.1. Now these are values I figured out previously in a test run. Obviously you're going to need some tweaking to get the correct results. So in rifle run, we will go back the way. So we'll say if we're running and we slow down, we're going to go back to walking, and then finally to idling. So in rifle run, I'm going to right click, make transition, pick that back up to walking, select that transition, turn off exit time, conditions, speed, and this time we say less than 3.1. And again, from walking to idle, boom, click that. Plus conditions, plus sign, speed is less than 0.2, I believe. So now when our game enters, it comes into entry, it goes into idle state. It will transition from idle state to a walking state when this speed parameter reaches a value greater than 0.2. In walking, it will transition from walking to rifle when the speed value is greater than 3.1. And vice versa, I'll go back this way. So let play. That will work right away because in my script I've already set up the code to interact with the animation controller, but I'll open that real quick to show you. Okay, so in my player controller script, in order to interact with the animator component attached to this character, first we'll create a new animator variable. In this case, it's my private animator, and I've called it my animator. So once you've done that, again, like a rigid body, go into my start, and assign the value my animator by getting the component animator attached to this object. And that's that. And in my update function, finally, is after I've updated the position and velocity of the character, I go into my animator, I choose set float. If you'd set up a parameter that was a boolean or a trigger or an int, you would use set int, set bool, etc. And then we, inside our round brackets, we pass the arguments, the name of the parameter we want to check, in our case, or modify, is speed. Make sure this is spelt the same and it's case sensitive. So we'll pass speed value, comma, and the value we want to pass to the parameter speed is the magnitude of the velocity attached to my rigid body. So in this case, this is essentially the speed I'm moving in either the x or y direction, or in any direction. So whether I'm moving diagonally or straight left or right, the magnitude of the velocity will be the same in total. So that's fine. That's 3 lines of code you need. Declare a variable animator, assign it to the component attached to its object, and set the bool. You set float to set the speed parameter to a value of, in your case, might be something different, but in my case it is velocity of a rigid body attached to this character. So I'm going to go back to Unity. Now when I hit play, that parameter should be updated with the velocity of this character. You see that? He's walking. It's a bit slidey, so obviously do I adjust these values to get something that works correctly for your character. And I've got a run mode, so when I hit space, the character runs, and you see it correctly transitions into that run state as the speed or velocity of my rigid body increases. So I'm going to let go of space and it goes back into my walk. Again, that's a little too fast, so I'm going to hit pause. I'll go into my character and maybe adjust my maximum walk velocity, maybe bring it down to 1, maybe decrease my acceleration down to 5. Try that. Okay, that's a little bit too slow now. I'm accelerating far too slow to see it. Go back to 15. Maybe walk velocity of 2. Again, it's maybe still too fast. Bring it down to 1. I'll just go ahead and tweak my values a bit. Still, it's a bit slidey, a bit too fast. Bring it down to maybe 0.7. Bit better. I might bring it down just a little bit more so. And again, by the way, I'm not going to worry too much about how perfect it is for now. Let's maybe just moving a little bit too fast into it before the animation takes hold. But you can obviously play with the transition times under the animator in terms of how much these overlap and blend together. But that's the basics. So create a character in Adobe Fuse, we brought it into Mixamo, exported it the same way you would a custom model from Maya or a Blender, etc. Imported that into Mixamo rigged the character, we chose some animations, we exported them out, downloaded them to computer, imported them into Unity, set up all the import settings, and we've attached them to our character and set up a simple animation controller that transitions between the three states, idle, walking and run, based on the speed of our character.